Hey guys, welcome to a video that I thought would be interesting to just show you some highlights of that I did recently. This is a custom race using Sophie AI, and it is Gr.4 cars, but they are only the V8 rear-wheel drive type. And just trying to simulate kind of a V8 supercars type series. But anyways, here we are at Suzuka circuit. And what I've done here is I have put myself in last, 20th place. And so I've got 60 minutes here to get to the lead. The first car here, passing for 19th place. I've noticed that when you set up these races like this, the car that's usually starting right ahead of you in the race will typically be fairly slow, a lot slower than the other cars. And so it's pretty easy to get by them. And then, you know, if you're going along for a few laps and you look on the map, you'll see that they've dropped way back. For some reason, that car just, even though it's got the same settings as, say, other Corvettes that are in the field, he dropped way back for some reason. I don't know why. But it took me actually a few laps to catch the next group of cars. I just was showing the Aston passing the Lexus right there, and then here we are catching up to the Lexus. This was one corner right here where you could actually gain some momentum coming up the hill and try to get a pass done. So this corner right here, and then also this corner right here, were my main two spots where I could get passing done. And you're going to see it here again in a second. This going up the hill right here. They go far right, but sometimes they slow down a little bit. So you do catch them, but if they're too far to the right, it's hard to get a run to get around the right side of them. So one thing I've noticed too with the Sophie AI is they move around a lot. The attitude is very human. The cars aren't just locked on a straight path. They'll actually move around a little bit and kind of get squirrely. And here we go for a pass to put us into 17th. They do go a little wide coming out of the hairpin there, but it's too hard to get a run on them. So fast forward a few more laps, and here we are trying to go into 16th. And again, these two corners here are probably my prime passing area to get by. If you can't get it done going into that corner, then you can usually just dive in right here. But you got to watch yourself on the exit, because if you go too wide, they can sneak back up the inside. And I've had that happen a couple times, which you'll see coming up here in a little bit. Fast forward a couple more laps, and we've caught the next group of cars. And I wanted to keep this whole clip in here because it looks amazing with the sun setting and all the cars in a line here moving around. You know, they're not all on the same path as like a train. You know, they move around a little bit depending on the car and the different characteristics of the car. So we're going to go for a dive down here on the inside, get this done. But again, like I said, if you go too far out and you make a mistake, they can get back down to the inside. Now the Aston's taking a look at the Mercedes here, and that's the thing too, is if you compromise one of the AI cars by passing them, and there's another AI car behind you that is pretty close, they'll try to sneak in and take that position from the car that you just passed as well. So here we are coming into the chicane, and I wanted to show this clip because coming out right here, I made a little mistake, got on the grass and got squirrely, and lost some momentum coming down the straight. So the Mercedes that I just passed got a run on me, and I kind of stayed to the inside a little bit here to force them to the outside so that that I would have the upper hand going into the first corner. And you got to make sure that you stay kind of right a little bit, because Sophie is very good about doing the over-under pass, and if you don't protect that inside, they'll get back down in there. And here we are coming into what I would call the easy corners for passing during this race. And I'm going to go for another dive here down on the inside. I think this might be one where I washed out a little bit too far. Nope. Just protecting that inside though, just in case. And especially right here going into the hairpin, want to stay a little right because you can see they can get their nose in there. Aston in the back going for a move on the Mercedes. Here we are in 14th. Now the Jag tried to get a run on the inside of the Lexus there, but he got pinched off, and that actually helped me with some momentum around the outside. So I got that position done. A little too far back to try and do the dive here on this corner. Got a little bit better run coming out, going under the bridge. And I'm going to try and do a hairpin slingshot here. And that worked out perfect. That was actually pretty slick. And I timed it just right because if I'd have been any later, I would have clipped the corner of him. Alright, next lap around. Caught up to a Mustang here. And I think I'm close enough here for the hairpin to go for the dive, and got it done. We got to make sure you get a good run out of the hairpin here because the Mustang actually was a little bit quicker in a straight line, so he's going to try and go on the inside here, but I was blocking it. Now, unfortunately, going into spoon here, I braked too late. As you can see, the distance increase there, and then that washed me out a little bit, and that gave him the nose back inside. He was a little aggressive and got into me. But I was like, you know what, whatever. But coming down to the chicane here, I had a run on him and dove it back down into the inside and was able to make it stick this time. So that puts us up to 11th. Fast forward to lap 18, caught up to another Mustang. Now I'm in 10th place. I did get into the back of him a little bit, that's my bad. Brake too late. But we should be able to go for the dive here at the hairpin again. And couldn't make it work. Sometimes they can see it coming and they'll brake a little bit later and make you work for it. Now both of us, I was going to go into the pit road right here, and he actually went at the same time. So this is where I kind of screwed up because I'm very bad at calculating the mileage, and I actually short-filled the car a little bit, which you'll see on the exit here. I actually jumped the Mustang in the pits because I didn't put enough fuel in, and that will come into play later. But next lap around, I screwed up going into turn 1. Overcooked it, and I should have just kind of went to the left to get on the asphalt so that I wouldn't spin, but you know, such is life. So back to 16th, although some of the cars hadn't pit yet. Caught back up to that group that passed me when I spun, and we're going to go into our normal passing locations here. Not close enough to do it here at the kink, but gonna sneak it up the inside here. And I think I overcooked this one a little bit, yep. And so he was able to get back down to the inside. You gotta watch that, like I said, they're very good at the over-under. Thankfully I was on the correct side for the hairpin, and so I was able to make that stick. And the Mercedes followed me through. So like I said, you compromise one of the cars, if there's another one close enough, they'll take that position too. We've got a 3-wide pass here going into turn 1 with the AI cars. This is one of the things that is cool to see. And they can make those passes work. Everything looks so human-like. Cars getting squirrely. Now see, they lose a little momentum coming out of that corner, so it's easy to sneak up on them here and get on the outside. As long as they don't have too much speed over you, you can get in here under the kink. So Mercedes just following me forward. I'm moving him aside and he's picking him off too. I had some momentum here. I think that's 130R coming down to the chicane. Was going to try and take a dive here, but just couldn't make it work. This is good stuff though. And then that Aston going into turn 1 here, making a move on the Mustang. and I was too far back, so I couldn't try it. But they always try to stick down to the inside there to keep your nose out, and you got to try and do the same thing to them. And we're coming up the hill again. Got to run. Got to try and make a move down here at the kink. Down the inside, and here comes the Mercedes again, although he made contact with the Mustang. Lap 24, coming up the hill, again, another run. I think that's their weakest spot right there on this track, is coming up that hill. They lose momentum, but with the settings that I had, they're able to gain speed quickly. Down the bottom before the bridge, and he was going to try and sneak up the inside there, but I was able to get over and cut him off, and then just making sure he didn't dive down at the hairpin. And lap 28, this is going to end up being the last lap. I put the car information down at the bottom there so you can see that I was really low on fuel, but able to get this one done at the kink. And that would be that. So started 20th, and we ended up in P10 after that spin. But I got to tell you, this was one of the best AI races, if not the best AI race that I have ever had in Gran Turismo. I will put all the information for the settings down below if you want to try it for yourself. It was absolutely incredible. Really, the only tweaks that I made was I powered down the Corvettes a couple clicks because they had too much power, and then had BOP off. So that's the key thing here. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.